Good morning, class, or good afternoon. I guess it's about 2 o'clock. I'm a little late getting this one out today. There will only be one video lecture up on YouTube today, so just worry about this one, and I'll put the slides on Blackboard as well. I've graded some of your parts of Exam 3, and I guess Part 2 of Exam 3, and those of you that emailed me, I got those out of the way and I started grading the other ones, so just be patient. I promise I will have everything, both parts, Part 1 and 2, graded by the end of the day tomorrow. I should be able to knock out Part 1 tonight at home. Anyway, your grades are coming, okay? But so far, everybody's doing pretty good on 2 that I've graded so far, so that's good. That's good news. All right, here we go. Monday, April 20th already. Can you believe it? We've only got about 2 more weeks of this. Less than that. Oh, this full week, all next week. 2.5 weeks left of school. Wow. All right, don't forget quiz 10 tonight. Now, we'll probably have quiz 11 on Thursday. And we'll have quiz 12 on the 27th and quiz 13 on the 30th. And that's probably going to be it. We'll probably get 13 quizzes out of the way, but we'll still charge 100 points to you. So today's the 20th, that'll be quiz 10. Thursday the 23rd will be quiz 11. Monday the 27th will be quiz 12, and probably Thursday the 30th will be quiz 13. So looks like we're going to get 13 quizzes out. Anything over 100 points cumulative on all your quizzes will be bonus points. Okay, tonight's quiz has no bonus question. Tonight's quiz is pretty easy. Not a lot of material. Just think about grazing management principles and you'll be all right. Okay, so quiz 10 tonight. 10 points, no bonus, no bonus, no bonus, no bonus. All right, here we go. Now we're going to do a little math today, so I hope you're not scared. So just be patient, and you can always go back and look at the slides. So we're going to start with coastal Bermuda grass. So all this stuff we've been learning and ways to monitor the amount of grass usage is important. And so I got these slides from a buddy of mine at NRCS. And so what we have here is a flagged off area. This is not a grazing exclosure, but it's a flagged off area that's meant to represent, typical grazing. So there might have been a hot wire fence right here, because you can see this is grazed more than this. So there might have been a hot wire fence here, I don't know. But this is definitely 3 inches of coastal Bermuda grass. Okay, so if we clipped every piece of grass in this area right here, which is usually a square meter, if we clipped all that grass, put it in a bag, put it in an oven at low temperatures, and completely dried it out, and then weighed it with a scale, and then expanded this square meter to an acre. Okay, so based on the amount of weight of dry forage in this particular piece right here, and we translated that to an acre basis, it'd be 1,300 pounds per acre. So 3 inches of coastal in a pasture is equal to 1,300 pounds per acre. That's what this sign means, pounds. Okay, and so here's my little arrow down here, and that's 3 inches. So this ruler is sitting on the ground. This is 3 inches of coastal. Okay, so 3 inches of coastal Bermuda grass is about 1,300 pounds per acre, or a little bit over a round bale. Okay, so you could take a whole acre and cut it, rake it, windrow it, bale it, and you'd have 1 bale of hay, as an example. We double that to 6 inches, and notice it doesn't double the volume per acre. So it's not don't think that if you got 6 inches of grass, it's twice as much as 3 inches of grass. That's really not true. That's really not true. Okay? So 6 inches of coastal Bermuda grass is about 2,200 pounds per acre. Same principle. My arrow's a little bit bigger here because we got 6 inches of coastal. But here's what is cool. We only added 2 more inches of grass. And we bumped pounds per acre by about 1,200 pounds. So you can see that grass has really put out some side leaves and really thickened up. So, you know, we had 2,200 pounds at 6 inches. Now we got 8 inches. We got 3,400 pounds per acre. Okay. So really good coastal Bermuda pasture with 8 inches of grass. We got 3,441 pounds per acre. All right. Here's where the math's going to come in. Okay. So we're going to do a little math. All right. Okay, take a deep breath. We got 100 acres. We went out and measured it. It's got 8 inches of coastal uniform across the pasture. And from our NRCS colleagues that helped us out with this, we've got 3,441 pounds per acre. Very important. We only want to take half and we want to leave half. So truly, we don't have 3,441 pounds of forage per acre. We've actually got 1720.5 pounds of dry forage per acre, because that's all we want to take off of this piece of property with our cattle. So, if you're curious, since we have 100 acres of land in this pasture, and we've got 1720.5 pounds of forage per acre, and we've got 100 acres, we actually got 172,050 pounds of forage sitting out there right now ready to be grazed. Even though we actually got more than that, but we're only taking half. Okay? So usable forage is about 172,000 pounds of forage. That's a lot of forage. So what do we do with that number? Well, there's 2 ways you can look at it. And you get to pick whatever makes the most sense to you. So the one in green probably makes the least sense, and the one in red probably makes the most sense. So back to our 1720.5 pounds of dry forage per acre. We go to our table and we know that an animal unit month, which is what's a 1,000-pound cow and her calf going to need for a month, she's going to need 780 pounds of forage. So if we were crazy and we wanted to fence off an acre of that 100 acres, what this is telling us is, if we put a fence around an acre of the 100, we could put 1 cow-calf pair in there, and there would be enough forage in that acre to sustain them for 2.2 months. That's one way to look at it. Okay? Alternatively, and probably the way I like to look at it, is that I know that a mama cow and her calf, if she weighs 1,000 pounds, she's going to eat 780 pounds of forage per month. And I know that I've got 1720.5 pounds of forage per acre, so if I divide 780 by 1720, then I get a number of 0.4534 acres per animal unit month. So what does that mean? Well, back to the green one. An animal unit can stay on 1 acre for 2.2 months, or 1 animal unit will use about a half an acre per month. 1 animal unit will need about a half an acre of that grass to sustain them for a month. For a month. So let's stick with that number. Let's stick with this 0.4534 acres per animal unit month. Okay? So, I've got 100 acres of 8-inch coastal. And for every animal unit month, so for every animal unit to maintain them for a month, I need 0.4534 acres. So if I divide 100 acres by 0.4534 acres per animal unit month, I get 220 and a half animal unit months. So this 100 acres could sustain one animal unit for 220 months. Well, we're not going to do that. That's dumb. But we need to know this number. There's 220.56 animal unit months out here in this pasture. But let's say I'm using a modified marrow grazing system and I've got those cells, those 3-month cells, like January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. Well, this is probably, this could be June, July, August, or maybe this is January, February, maybe this is April, May, June. So I want to keep these cows out for either 2 cells or 3 cells, so either 6 months or 9 months. So we know right now we've got 220.5 animal unit months, and if I want to occupy this pasture for 6 months, I divide that by 6. Months cancel, months and months cancel. And what this is telling me is I could put 36,000-pound cows with their babies out there, and there'd be enough grass for them for 6 months. If I wanted to go longer than 6 months, I simply divide this 220.56 animal unit months by 9. Months cancel. And that would tell me that I could put 24,000-pound cows with their babies out there for 9 months. And there'd be enough forage to support them. Okay? Now, a good rancher, he or she might want to put 30 cows out there or 20 cows out there. 30 cows for 6 months and 20 cows for 9 months. Doesn't matter, but there's enough forage to support 36 and 24. That's the important point. Okay? Trust me, there's enough forage out there. But remember, those cows only weigh 1,000 pounds. Okay, so that's a pretty small cow in today's perspective. So, let's think a little bit bigger. Let's maybe think of some different kinds of cows. Okay, so I know based on my calculations that 36.8 animal units can graze that pasture for 6 months. But the problem is my cows weigh closer to 1,500. Let's say I've got some big old purebred Brahman cows out there, and their big cows are pushing 1,500 maybe. I don't know. Maybe I got some Continentals out there. They're pushing 1,500. That's no longer true. Our 36 is no longer true. So how do we correct for that? Well, the easiest way in my mind is say, okay, well, if I got 36.8 animal units out there that I could graze, emphasize could, and that's based on a 1,000-pound cow, then that means there's 36,800 pounds of cow grazing out there. Okay, well, my cows don't weigh 1,000 pounds. They weigh 1,500. My cows weigh 1,500. So I still take that 36,800, divide that by 1,500, and lo and behold, I cannot graze my 1,500. I can't graze 36 1,500-pound cows out there for 6 months. I can only graze 24 of my cows out there for 6 months. So at the end of the day, only 24 of my 1,500-pound cows can graze this 100 acres for 6 months, and that's the important part to remember. Okay? Very good. Next, we'll take a look at some different grasses. All right, so those of you that are not fans of coastal, here's some Klein grass, which is a bunch grass. And so it's not going to be as much forage because we've got bare ground here between these bunches of grass. Okay? So here I got 6 inches of Klein grass. That's 22.29 pounds of forage per acre. 13 inches is about 31.15 per acre. And if we really let it rest, for maybe 6 months, and we get good rains, and we got 20-inch Klein grass out there, look at there. 38, almost 3,900 pounds per acre. There's a lot of forage out there, a lot of forage. Okay? So once again, the science has been done. If we went in here and clipped this area to the bare ground, dried it in an oven, and then weighed it, and then converted it to pounds in this little spot to pounds per acre, we would come up with 3,880 pounds per acre. So that's almost 5 round bales, not quite, but pretty close to at least 4.5 round bales per acre. That's a lot of forage. That's a lot of forage, I'm telling you. Okay? So I just picked out 2 grasses that are pretty common. I could have used Tifton or Buffalo, but I didn't. I used Klein grass and I used Coastal. Those of you that are in deep South Texas or maybe a little bit west of here, you're probably used to seeing native grass. Native grass isn't a monoculture. So there's different grass species out here. You can see some doveweed in here as well. So this is mixed native grass. It's not going to be as fruitful or productive, but it's still good grass. And there's going to be a lot of variety out there for the cows to pick from. So here's some native grass, which means it's not a monoculture. It hasn't been, disc and plowed and planted. It's just what's out there naturally. So 10 inches of that would be about 2,700 pounds per acre. And if we let it rest, you can see lots of grass species out here. This is a really good pasture that I borrowed a slide from NRCS guys. This is really good native grass. 20 inches of native grass would be 33.48. So this is how NRCS can help you. If NRCS isn't sure about your grass stand, they will actually come out here and clip this for you, and they'll help you. They'll show you how to do it. And you can put it in your kitchen oven and dry it out, and you just need a small scale. But you need to know the conversion of this little plot of land right here, what you need to multiply that by to get it per acre. But I thought you'd enjoy seeing some of that. Okay, so that's how we use that. That's why that animal unit is an important piece of information when you're looking at your forage. But I'm telling you, very few people have 1,000-pound cows anymore, so you have to be careful. And you have to use those animal unit equivalents. Okay? Alright. Just some pictures of some good pasture. Look at this. This is a pasture in Montana. How tall do you think that grass is? Now that's going to be in the later stages of growth, so it's not going to be as nutritious, but look at those horses in that grass. Good grazing management principles right here. Lots of grass out there. So what are some good grazing management tools? How about a cell phone? You can take pictures and a ruler. Okay, so you can have this in your cell phone and a date stamp on it. And you can check it periodically and you will know exactly when you've taken half. Because you want to take half and leave half and get off that pasture. And let it rest. Let it rest. Question for you. How many pounds per acre? How many acres of grass? So here comes I told you this is based on science. This is what's going to be based on art. How good at you are predicting what this area of land is right here as compared to the whole. There's obviously no grass here. There's no grass here. There's no grass here. But there's grass. Here's some forbs. So you got to really get good at thinking about how many acres of grass are actually out there. I mean, this pasture may be 500 acres, but it's not all grazable. It's not all grazable. So you have to determine how many acres of this pasture is actually going to be grass. Then you go in here and find a pretty good spot, and you can actually do the clipping yourself and see how many pounds of grass per acre. And that's the art in all this. Okay, the other part we did was science. This is art. How good are you at predicting this? Okay, that's where a good grass manager comes into play. A good ranch manager. They know how many acres of grass they have in a particular pasture. It's an assumption, but they're, the more accurate you can be, the better. And then let's go ahead and figure out how many pounds per acre, and then we can figure out our stocking rate. All right, how many pounds per acre here? How many acres of grass? Well, you're probably laughing right now. I don't see much grass, and I don't see much pasture management. I see a lot of brush and a lot of bare ground. Okay, that's not a good example of pasture management. That's not a good example of the 4 principles of grazing management. Timing, duration, frequency, and intensity was not practiced here. Okay, this is what happens when you continuously graze and don't get any rain in South Texas. It looks like that. Okay. What about this country? This is probably what, 80, 100 miles west of here. Maybe it's even closer. Maybe it's in that Benavides, kind of west of Benbolt, Benavides, Riolitos country. Got some hill, got a lot of black brush, got a lot of different kind of brush, got some mesquite back there. Got a lot of prickly pear. Looks to me like you got a lot of rock, and I don't see much grass. So how do you determine the stalking rate of something like that? Well, you got to determine how much is actually grazable and then how much grass is out there. I mean, you can see some buffalo grass in here. Okay, but it's definitely dormant. So this is probably in winter, or, you know, we got some green, so maybe it's late winter, or maybe late fall. I don't know. It's not much grass out here. Pear looks pretty good, but the rest. So again, how much is grazable, and then how many pounds per acre of grass on this piece of property. Here's something a little different. How much of that's grazable? I do see some grass. It's dormant, so this would be winter. This would be winter. Is 10% of that grazable? Is 20% of that grazable? You know, that's where experience and a pencil and a piece of paper you can help, because you can figure out how much forage is out here. But the tough part's going to be how much of this pasture is actually grazable. How much of this pasture has grass on it. That's the challenging component. Just to let you know, that's the challenging component. But we do have some more tools. Aerial photography, aerial pictures. NRCS can help you with that. There's probably some aerial pictures of the ranch you're managing, or maybe of your own ranch. You can get some aerial pictures. Of course, it'll change over time, and if you haven't practiced brush management in a long time, it's going to change dramatically. But you can buy a pretty good drone for about $1,500. Okay, and you know, at least you can fly a little bit of it and just get a bird's eye view of what your pasture looks like if you're into this technology. Okay, so helicopter, airplane, or drones can help us get up there and look down on our pastures. So here's some examples of some different aerial photographs taken with a drone. And so you can see here, I'd say probably, I don't know, 90% of this pasture is grazable. And this is what it looks like down here on the ground. So it looks kind of brushy, but when you get up top, you know, there's clumps of brush, but there's a lot of grass in here. Okay, so this picture was taken in July of 2017. You can see that date stamp on it. So, you know, it's July, we're in the middle of summer, it's getting hot. This grass isn't pretty green and growing like it would be in the spring, but there's plenty of forage out there. So to get that bird's eye view can help you with this. We go to a more oak mod or woodland type where there's more brush, more trees. You can see that, you know, maybe 50-60% of this pasture is grazable. This is kind of what it looks like up on a hill. This is kind of in the hill country in the Edwards Plateau. You can see they got a sendero here, maybe a tank or some kind of feeder there. They got some dry spots, so you know that would not be a good spot to take a forage sample. You'd want to go back over here. But again, my point is, it helps if you can get up and look down on what you're trying to get accomplished until you get good at estimating what part of this pasture is grazable. Here's another one. Now this is strictly mesquite, and you can see if you didn't brush manage this pasture, these mesquites would get bigger and bigger, and less of this would be grazable. But again, plenty of dormant grass out here for cows to eat. How much of this pasture is grazable, and how many pounds per acre do you have out there? And with a little piece of pencil and a calculator, you can kind of estimate, get a handle on how many months you can have a set of cows out there and how many cows you can put out there. Here's a drone picture of the King Ranch coastline. So again, you can see this is a pretty good area right here. It's pretty open. Got a lot of grass here, not much grass here, not much grass here. So just some other pictures I want. These are pictures of some tame pastures that I took up near Beeville. And the pasture two pastures right next to each other, separated by a fence. The only trees in here are there and there, and this is not part of the pasture back here. So you can see with a drone picture up here, just to show you. So we actually have three pastures here. So this could be part of a Merrill grazing system. This would be pasture 1, this would be pasture 2, and then pasture 3 and 4 would be over here. So a rancher could easily use the grass here, rotate, use the grass here, rotate. But a picture of a tame pasture versus a more natural or native type pasture that I showed you previously. So there's no trees, there's no brush in here. So one could just kind of pick a couple spots in here and measure the forage and estimate how much forage they got, and you could turn out the cow-calf pairs in it for however many months you determine.